What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Saw Dad Podcast, episode 2 of season 3. I am really excited, as always, for today's episode, but today will be a little less on the sports side and a little bit more on my family and some updates with us, and just some things that I want to share with you guys that have kind of led the transition and the new developments in our family's life and my life. And yeah, so excited for that and ready to get into it. All right, so I wanted to start today by sharing some updates about our family and some of the stuff going on. And I may have discussed it a little bit in the first episode, but just sharing more info. So a few months ago, Marissa and I were talking about things and some external things going on, and we made the really difficult decision that I was going to step away at Saracoso and leave that program. And with that was going to come another move, which feels like it's move 500 for us at this point in our marriage. And we have moved so much, and it's always been for an opportunity. We always say that, it's always been for an opportunity or for a chance that one of us has to pursue a job or pursue a career. Or, the last couple moves for us have been for me to pursue a career and a dream. And I can't thank my family enough for bearing with me through all of that. But we made the decision this spring to make a move more so based on our family and being close to family, not just our immediate family this time. And so that snowballed into a lot of other things, and we felt really strongly that we needed to be really close to family. And so that, again, in February, our mindset was we were moving back to the Midwest and trying to be close to Marissa's parents again, being closer to my parents as well. And then over the last month, tops, that has rapidly transitioned to what is now finalized, in that we are moving to Orem, Utah. Yeah, we are moving to Orem, Utah, somewhere we thought we would never live, somewhere for years that we claimed we didn't want to live. Couldn't see ourselves living in Utah. But there are a lot of reasons that we have figured out and received through prayer and revelation, and lots of reasons for us to be in Utah at this point. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you guys today is, I was an English teacher. For any of you who have listened to the podcast before, I was an English teacher in high school, at a high school. My major was in liberal arts. I love English and writing, and more on that later as well. I love language. And I think a lot of that comes from my dad, and he instilled that, I think, in all of us kids from a young age, and using our creativity and our imagination, and then portraying all of that and expressing all that with language. So I've been really torn up about this move, and the first few weeks after we decided that I was leaving Saracoso were really, really difficult. And it was tough because I was really excited to be here for this program and to start this program. And the first season didn't go anywhere close to what I thought it was going to. And I blame myself for a lot of that. But through a lot of prayer, a lot of fasting, a lot of conversations, a lot of working things out, I've realized that it was the best decision. And So, as we were preparing for the move, originally the thought process was I'm leaving Saracoso to go coach somewhere else. And like I covered in the first episode, that is no longer the case. I'm removing myself from the game for an indefinite time. And so, when it changed from looking for a coaching job, I really was just looking for anything. And I'm doing a remote doing remote work with one of our friends from Marissa's home area in Indiana. Um, enjoying that, going well. But it's not coaching, right? And that was a transition that was and is still very difficult. I had a pretty emotional moment in the car today where I got pretty upset about it, and they just kind of hit me out of nowhere that I'm not coaching now, and I'm not going to be coaching for a while. So back to what I was talking about. I love language and words, and one of my 10 rules is that words have power, and I truly believe that. I try to live in a way that I use positivity and spread positivity, and do that a lot with words. I think that words are more powerful than we really do give them credit for. So one of the things, some of the things that we've tried to do with our kids are like affirmations. We do affirmations with them with like emotions, like I'm strong, I'm smart. We do things like that with them, sometimes in the evenings, and those are good. Those are fun, good things that the kids remember and that they can repeat to themselves. And I think those are important. I think it's important to believe in yourself and have faith and trust in yourself and in the Lord, and those are all part of the affirmations that we do with them on occasion. Those we were doing every night. We were doing those every night, and it started to, because our kids are little, they're so little. It started to become more of like a game almost, rather than words that were a little bit more intense or powerful. So we don't do it every night anymore. Um, so I was trying to think of something else, and we say prayers with them. Right? We pray with them every night, and they pray, and we love that. We love that about them. They all want to pray every night, and it's wonderful. Um, so can't remember. I think I was on a walk. It was either on a walk or in the car. And no. I wasn't. I was in the house. This was just before bedtime. And I had gotten really frustrated with the kids, and just was feeling bad about that. Right? So I'm a parent. I'm a dad. I get mad at my kids. I'm going to feel guilty about it. And so I was taking a minute before I went into bedtime with them, and I went and said a prayer myself to try and bring the spirit back into the home, and have bedtime be a positive experience. And I was just, after my prayer, I was getting ready to go back into the room, and this phrase, these lines of language came into my head, and since then it's become our family motto, and I wanted to share that with you guys today, and then talk about that, and how it relates to us and relates to other things, and yeah, hopefully get your thoughts on it. I'd love to hear what you guys think. So our family motto, the Blue Shell family motto now is, and this, again, I'm going to talk about this a lot. It doesn't matter where we go. It matters what we do. We always follow Jesus because he loves me and you. It's very simple. Very simple language, very simple meanings. And that plays into the fact that I think that plays into the fact that we have several children. We have 5 kids. The oldest is 6. And so the language does need to be fairly simple, but the concepts and the meaning behind all of it is deeper than that. And I do have a picture. I have a picture on my phone with that quote, just the beginning part of it. It doesn't matter where you go, it matters what you do. And I changed the wording on it a little bit for myself because, again, I've been struggling with not coaching, and it's been difficult. And having that motto around my life and within my family's life and all of that has helped. It has helped. And one of the biggest reasons for us in making this move, and as a little background, if you're listening to the podcast and you don't know much about me or Mo or our family, we are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so a lot of people consider Utah like the Mecca of Mormons, or I don't. There's too many names for it. And I think for years that was kind of one of the reasons why we didn't want to live in Utah. And it sounds harsh, but just all the stereotypes and everything that we just convinced ourselves we didn't want to be there. And now one of the biggest reasons for us moving to Utah is because there are temples for our church everywhere. They're everywhere in Utah. And right now, the closest temple to us is over 2 hours away. We haven't been able to go since we've been in California. I've been able to go to a temple. I went to the temple in Las Vegas when I was there for a soccer trip. But we haven't been able to go together, and it's just been hard. It's been really hard. We already have our address in Orem, and we know we're going to be less than 20 minutes from a temple. And that's incredible. It's incredible. So one of the biggest reasons why we ended up deciding on Utah is because of the proximity of so many temples, because those are very, very important to us. So the quote, it doesn't matter where you go, it matters what you do. That motto for our family came to my mind, I want to say a day or two before I got a couple job offers to coach, and they were outside of Utah. And so that was really heavy for me, was making that decision to not go coach. But the second half of the beginning, it matters what you do, I have really, really placed a premium on my spiritual health and spiritual and mental health and strength with this move. And so proximity to temples, which we had also looked in Arizona. Temples would have been very close to us in Arizona. But Utah, we're going to be very close to temples, and we're going to be very, very close to my wife's entire family. So that's huge for us as well. Being really close to Mo's family is huge for us. So lots of rambling, lots of stuff going on. But again, I wanted to talk about that quote, and it really, in the end, it really doesn't matter where you go. It matters what you do. Earlier today, I guess yesterday, if you're watching this on Wednesday, on Tuesday, Tuesdays, our local movie theater in Ridgecrest, because we're still here, they do like a discount day. And so since like December, Marissa and I have been alternating Tuesdays, and we go see a movie. We take a couple to a few hours out of our day and go see a movie, relax, right? We get away from everything for a little bit, and it's been really nice. And today was my turn, and I went to see Michael. the new Michael Jackson movie, and I personally I really liked it. And I'm not going to turn this into a film review, but um, I was thinking about the motto, or our motto, while I was watching the movie, that it doesn't matter where you go, it matters what you do. And one of the things that I felt like they portrayed in the movie was that, frequently Michael wanted to help other people. And there were many, many little clips and cutscenes of him going out of his way to sign autographs, or to just talk to someone, or to try and fix social issues, or lots of different things. And that really spoke volumes to me on, again, it matters what you do. And for me, that's what I want to do. I want to help people, and I want to be a positive influence in people's lives. I want to help people feel happiness and feel joy and feel the Spirit and feel closer to Heavenly Father and to Christ. And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. That's how I feel happy. Right? That's how I feel joy and passion in my life, is seeing other people be happy. And I've always been that way. Um, I remember, well, I don't remember, but my parents tell me. Um, so when we first moved, me and my family, when we first moved to the Buena Vista area, when my dad started working at Southern Virginia University, he got an opportunity to go live in China for a year, and we all went with him. And he was teaching English at this university in China. And again, not all relevant, not going to talk a lot about that. But the story comes from my birthday, which I had in China. And the story goes, right, I don't remember this, but the story goes that at my birthday party, right, we my parents were able to get like a bunch of American candy, I guess, and um, I guess it was really tough to get it, and so I started opening up, the presents and candy and stuff, and I gave it to everybody else that was at the party. And this is not a toot my own horn, look at me, I'm so good moment. That's where my happiness comes from, right? That's where my happiness comes from, is by helping other people to be happy. And again, it doesn't matter where you go, it matters what you do. So we were looking at Arizona, we were looking at the Midwest, we were looking at Colorado and Idaho, and geez, where else? North Carolina and Georgia and Virginia and Maryland. I think that was pretty much it. But we really weren't looking at Utah. I looked at like one or two schools, again, because there's not a lot of coaching in Utah. There's not a lot of collegiate coaching opportunities in Utah. So I wasn't really thinking about it, and just had that nagging feeling that it was where we were supposed to go. And I was out on a walk, and I do want to share. This is kind of a more intense spiritual experience. Um, I was out on a walk, which again, I've been very lucky being here, that I can just go out on a walk, and there's walking paths and sidewalks. It's been nice. And I walk early enough in the mornings that it's not super hot yet. It was over 100 degrees today. So it's been hot. It's been hot. But in the mornings, it's been like in the 70s. So I'm out on a walk, and just thinking about the move and potential places. And at this time, it was down to Utah and Arizona. And we were really feeling good about Arizona and going back, and love Arizona and all of our experiences and our time there. And we loved Arizona. And I was walking, and this, thought, and I know now it was more than a thought, right, came into my mind. that years ago, early in me and Mo's marriage, when we were thinking about, after school, where do we want to go, what do we want to do, where do we want to settle our family, all of these questions that a married couple asks. It was always very, we don't want to go to Utah. We don't want to settle in Utah. We don't want to go to Utah. And out on my walk, I had a very, very distinct impression that early on in our marriage, a thought had been put into either my mind or Marissa's mind that we didn't need to be in Utah. We were not supposed to be in Utah, and that we should do everything we could to not go to Utah. And the impression continued that we had just bought into that and just let it fester and build for years and years and years and years. And we were married in Utah. We were married in the Mount Timpanogos Temple in American Fork, Utah. And then we were like, nope, we're done. We're like, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why we let that fester the way that we did. And it didn't quite feel like a reprimand, but kind of close. And so that was another one of the reasons why, we figured, why shouldn't we move to Utah? There's family, there's temples, the church is very dense for us, and there's resources for our family, right? There's resources for me to get mental health help that I need and that I wanted for a long time, and there's resources for a new way to get speech therapy and work on his occupational therapy, and our other kids. We have, all of our kids have different needs. They all have things going on, and in Utah we have those resources, and they're all very close, and it is really congested and it's really busy, and there are certain stereotypes that are accurate about Utah, but just because something is a stereotype doesn't mean that you have to participate in it, right? So we are really excited to be close to temples and close to family. And those priorities, by making those priorities, we have already seen miracles happening in our life and in this move. And we're tremendously blessed. And I'm very, very thankful for that. So that is that's the updates that I wanted to give you guys as far as the family is concerned. There's a lot going on. We're planning on leaving in like 2 weeks. So we've got some U-Haul boxes coming in about a week. And then we'll pack those and fill those with everything, right? My office is out in our garage, so as I'm saying everything, I'm looking around our garage at everything that we're going to be packing up, and it's a bit overwhelming. But we've done this, like I said, 500 times. So what's one more move? We'll make it work. So a couple other updates as far as the podcast itself is concerned. I'm really, really excited for these. So one of the things that I really wanted to do with this podcast, and it was actually on my way back from Vegas, I texted Marissa. I was stopped. I was at a gas station, and I texted Marissa and I said, I want to bring my podcast back, and I want to do a monthly feature. And she was like, okay, like, tell me more. And I said that I want to do a monthly feature of a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who is or has been in some way affiliated with high or elite level athletics. And whether that's athletes, coaches, admin, social media, I've really been feeling really strongly about this. And so that's going to be a new monthly feature. Once a month, I will feature a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, again, who is or has been affiliated in a very high level way with athletics. So I already have several guests lined up for that. I'm really, really, really excited for those. and to share their stories with you guys and get to know them on a deeper level, hopefully. And maybe it can help some other kids who are athletes right now and trying to navigate being an elite athlete and also being a member of the church and some of the struggles that presents. I remember being a kid and having games on Sundays, and I had to make choices if I was going to play in a game on Sunday or go to church, and they were difficult. And I had to choose sports or going on my mission, and that was difficult. But I'm hoping that having some guests on will help some of these kids and help some of these people get their stories more exposure, because some of these stories are just incredible. So that's going to be a monthly feature. And then the other thing that I'm doing is just inviting guests in general, people who have a story they want to share, people who have a cause that they want to support. So outside of athletics, right? It's the Sports and Home Dad podcast now, right? It's not strictly sports and not strictly family. Right? I'm going to be balancing a bit more. But I also think it's going to be a bit more intense, and some of these episodes might get a bit heavy, right? And so that's something that I'm excited about. I'm really excited to have these guests on the show, and I think that's one of the reasons why having video now is going to be really helpful, because we can have these calls and we can post these to YouTube or X or Instagram. We can put clips up there, and it's just, I'm really excited for that. So again, I wanted to share that with you as well. I'm hoping for the first guest feature. I'm not sure if it's going to be a spotlight feature or just a guest. Should be next week's episode. So next Wednesday should be the first guest feature, which I'm really excited about. Again, I've got a few different people that I'm working with right now to get their episodes recorded and finished and edited and everything. So I'll decide on which one's going to be first here, probably in a few days. But really excited for those opportunities and chances that I'm going to get to interview some really, really cool people. So that's really all that I've got for today. Lots of updates on us, lots of oversharing for me as per usual, and some updates on the podcast. So let me know if you guys have anyone in particular that you think you would like to see on the podcast or hear from or be interviewed, and I'd be happy to reach out to people and see if we can get them on here. And if you are listening and you want to be on here, let me know. Right? I have no restrictions. I have no regulations or if you want to be on here, I want you to be on here. Right? And I would love to talk with anyone that wants to be on here. And we go from there. So again, looking forward to next week and our first guest feature, and stay tuned for more info on that. And I will talk to you guys in a week.